Hey champs of ExamSnet, welcome to the question series of ExamSnet. Student, you must have explored our website, that is www.examsnet.com. This site is a great place for you to practice your entrance exam question papers because here you will find so many entrance exam question papers along with their detailed PDF solutions. And you must download our app. The link is available in the description box for the better preparation of your exams. So, students, today uh, we will be solving JEE 2024 5th April Shift 2 paper. So, in this particular video, I'll be solving the physics part of the paper. So, starting with the very first question of the physics series, that is question number 31. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, when the white light passes through a prism, the red light bends lesser than yellow and violet. And the statement 2 is the refractive indices are different for different wavelengths in dispersive medium. In the light of the above statement, choose the correct answer. Okay. So first of all, this question is from the chapter of uh, reflections and refractions. Reflection and refractions. Okay. So in this question, the statement 1 says that when the white light passes through a prism, okay, whenever a white light is passing through a prism, the red light bends lesser than the yellow and the violet. Okay, so as we know that the wavelength of the red light is greater than the wavelength of yellow light and is greater than the wavelength of the violet light. Okay, so the light ray with longer wavelength bands less. Okay, it means the red light is having the longer wavelength, larger wavelength, so it will bend less than the yellow and the violet. Okay, so the statement 1 is true, means statement 1 is the correct statement. And the second statement is given that the refractive indices are different for different wavelengths in dispersive medium. This one is very correct statement, as we all know that for different wavelength, the in any dispersive medium, if the light are having different wavelengths, so their refractive index indices, or we can say refractive index, will be different. So both these statements are true. So from these, the option A, that is both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. So this is the correct answer. Okay. Now next question 32. Which of the following statement is not true about stopping potential V naught? Okay, so student, this question is from the chapter of dual nature of matter and radiation. Dual nature of matter and radiation. Okay, so it is asking about the stopping potential, means it is discussing about the photoelectric effect. Photoelectric effect. Okay, so what happens in a photoelectric effect? Whenever photons of a particular wavelength and a particular frequency falls on the surface of a metal, then the electrons gets ejected from it, and these electrons are called the photoelectrons. Okay, so we write an equation for this photoelectric effect as kinetic energy maximum is equals to h nu minus phi, where phi is the work function. So we write this maximum kinetic energy as EV naught. So it is equals to h nu, where nu is the frequency, and we write phi as h nu naught, where nu naught is called the threshold frequency. Okay, so we write this stopping potential V naught as h over E nu minus h over E nu naught. Okay, so this h over E is the slope for this photoelectric effect. So nu naught, V naught is the stopping potential. So the question is asking about this stopping potential. So the first statement says that it depends on the nature of the emitter material, and second one is it depends upon the frequency of this incident light, and third is increases with increase in the intensity of the incident light. Okay, and the fourth one is it is 1 by E times the maximum kinetic energy of the electrons emitted. Okay, so among these four, the option C, that is the stopping potential increases with the increase in the intensity of the incident light, is the incorrect statement, since we have to find the incorrect statement na. So these all are the correct statement. It depends on the nature of the emitter material, it depends on the frequency of the incident light, and it's also it is equals to 1 over E times the maximum kinetic energy of the electron. So third statement is the incorrect one. Okay, now next question 32. The angular momentum of an electron in a hydrogen atom is proportional to. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of modern physics. Modern physics. Okay, so we know that the force is equals to the centripetal force provided for the electron to revolve around the nucleus is equals to mv square over r, and we know that this Colombian force Fc is equals to k q1 q2 over r square, so it must be equals to this mv square over r. So this is equals to m v square into r square equals to k q1 q2 into r. Okay, so this k q1 q2 r, it is equals to this L square over m, and it will become equals to k q1 q2 into r. Okay, since we know that L is equals to vr over m square. Okay, so in place of this mv square over r, we have written L square over m. Okay, so from this we get this L is directly proportional to under root of r. This L is the angular momentum, so we can say that the angular momentum of an electron is directly proportional to under root of r. Okay, now next question 34. A galvanometer of resistance 100 ohm when connected in series with 400 ohm measures a voltage of up to 10 volt. The value of resistance required to convert the galvanometer into ammeter to read up to 10 ampere is this. So we have to find the value of X. Okay, so we know that from Ohm's law V equals to I into R. Okay, so if we write for the current of the galvanometer, so we can write Ig is equals to V over R, and this R will be summation of G plus R na. This we all know. So V is given as 10 volt, so 10 over G plus R. G plus R means this 400 plus 100. Okay, so Ig will be equals to 20 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. Okay, and it is saying that the value of resistance required to convert the galvanometer into ammeter up to read up to 10 ampere. Okay, so for ammeter we know that for ammeter, let us say that the shunt resistance be as. Okay, shunt resistance B equals to S. So we can write Ig into R is equals to I minus Ig over S. This is from the theory part. We all know this. So putting the values, Ig is 20 into 10 to the power minus 3 into R. R is given as 100 equals to I minus Ig. So it will be 10 into S. So we have to find this S. So from here we can say that S is equals to 20 into 10 to the power minus 2 ohm. Okay, so comparing it with that given in the question equals to X into 10 to the power minus 2 ohm. So the value of X here is 20. Okay, so the correct answer is option C. Now next question 35. The vehicles carrying inflammable fluids usually have metallic chains touching the ground. Okay, so we have to find the correct answer among these four options. So we know that the static charge is developed due to air friction only. So this can result in the combustion of the flame. So metallic chains is used to discharge excess of the charge. So from this, the option A, that is to conduct excess charge due to air friction to ground and to prevent the sparkling, is the correct answer. Okay, now next question 36. If n is the number density and d is the diameter of the molecule, then the average distance covered by a molecule between two successive collisions is. So this question is from the chapter of kinetic theory of gases. Kinetic theory of gases. And student, this is the question which is based on the direct formula based question. Okay, This is the direct formula based question. We just have to write the formula here, and it is from the theory part only. So we know that the formula for the mean free path lambda is equals to 1 over under root 2 pi d square over n, where this d is the diameter of the molecule, okay, and n is the number of molecule per unit volume, okay, number of molecule per unit volume. So this is a direct formula. So this is a very simple question as asked in the paper. So from this point of view, option C, that is 1 over under root 2 pi d square n, is the correct answer. Now 36. A particle moves in xy plane under the influence of a force F such that its linear momentum is given by this. If K is constant, so we have to find the angle between F and P will be. So this question is from the chapter of motion in a plane. Motion in a plane, okay. So we are given with PT, linear momentum, as iota cos kt minus j cap sine of kt, okay. So if we talk about in terms of the magnitude, so this must be equal to 1. So since we know that P, momentum, equals to mass into velocity, so therefore P will be equals to V cap. If we talk about the unit vector in terms of the unit vector, so P cap will be equals to V cap. So V cap will be equals to cos kt iota cap minus sine kt j cap, okay. So acceleration, we know that acceleration is equals to del v over del t. So from here we can write it as del v cap over del t. So it will be equals to cos is minus of sine kt iota cap into k, and minus sine, differentiation of sine is cos kt j cap into k over k, okay. Now, so acceleration will become A cap is equals to minus of sine kt iota cap and minus of cos kt j cap, okay. So from here we can write, okay, if we talk about the dot product, always remember, if we talk about the dot product, so if we write f dot p, so it will be equals to what? Fp cos theta. So whenever there is a dot product, we use cos theta, and whenever there is a cross product, we always use sin theta. So from this point of view, we can write cos theta as f dot p over fp, okay. So using this part, we can write cos theta as minus of sin kt cos t plus sin kt cos t over 1 cross 1, okay. So this will be equals to 0, means from here we say that cos theta is equals to 0, so theta will be equals to cos inverse 0, so it will be equals to, theta will be equals to pi by 2, okay. So the correct answer is option A, that is pi by 2. Now next question 38. The electrostatic force F1 and magnetic force F2 acting on a charge Q moving with velocity V can be written as, okay. So we know that F force is equals to charge into electric field, okay. If we write F1 as Q into E, this is directly from the chapters only, okay. We have read this already in the theory part or in the chapters. And if we write, this is the electrostatic force, okay, F1. And if we talk about the magnetic force F2, so we write magnetic force as Q V cross B. So this is the very simple question asked in the JE paper. So these are just the formulas which we have already read in our theory part. So from this point of view, option C, that is F1 equals to QE and F2 equals to QB cross B, is the correct answer. Now next question 39. A man carrying a monkey on his shoulder does cycling smoothly on a circular track of radius 9 meter and completes 120 revolutions in 3 minutes. The magnitude of the centripetal acceleration of monkey is, okay. So this question is from the chapter of the kinematics. Okay, so we are given with r, that is radius is 9 meter. Okay, and it is completing 120 revolutions in 3 minutes. So for this, omega will be 120 revolution in 3 minutes. Okay, so it will be equals to 120 into 3 minutes means 3 into 60, and 120 revolutions per 3 minute means 120 into 2 pi radian, if we want to convert it in terms of the radian. So omega will be equals to 3 4s are 12, 0 0 0 cancels, 2 3s are 6, 2 2s are 4, so it will be 4 pi by 3 radian per second, na? Because this we have converted minute into second, so radian per second. So acceleration will be magnitude of the centripetal acceleration. So centripetal acceleration will be equals to, we know that it is equals to omega square into r, and omega square is 16 pi square over 9 into r is 9. So 9 cancels. So it is 16 pi square meter per second square. Okay. So from this point of view, option B is the correct answer. Now next question 40. A series LCR circuit is subjected to an AC signal of 200 volt and 50 hertz. If the voltage across the inductor L 10 millihenry is 31.4 volt, then the current in this circuit is, okay. So this question is from the chapter of alternating current. Alternating current, okay. So we are given the voltage across the inductor, means we are given VL as V voltage across the inductor is 31.4 volt as given in the question. So, and this is, we know that it is equals to I into XL na. So VL means 31.4 volt. It is equals to I into XL, and this XL we know that is equals to L into omega. So 31.4 is equals to I into L, and we know that omega equals to 2 pi into F. So omega, in place of omega, just write 2 pi into F. So 31.4 will be equals to I into L. L is given as 10 millihenry. So 10 into 10 to the power minus 3 Henry into 2 into pi means 3.14 into F. F is given as 50 hertz, means 50. So from here, we find I as 10 ampere. Okay. This is our final answer, means option C is the correct answer. So the next question is 41. It says that what is the dimensional formula of AB inverse in the equation P plus A over B square V minus B equals to RT, where letters have their usual meaning. Okay. So in this question is from the chapter of units and measurements. Units and measurements. Okay. Now the equation given as P plus A over V square V minus B equals to RT. Okay. So whatever be the dimension of V should be the dimension of B. Okay. Means V, whatever be the dimension of V, they must be equal to the dimension of B. So we know that the dimension of V, this V is volume. So the dimension of V will be L cube na. So from this, the dimension of B will be, dimension of B will be also L cube. Okay, let us say this is equation number 1. Okay, and whatever be the dimension of P should be the dimension of A over V square. Whatever be the dimension of V, they must be the dimension of A over V square. Okay, so from here we can write dimension of A will be equal to
dimension of P into V square. Okay. And we know that dimension of P will be M. It is pressure, na? So dimension of pressure are M L inverse T minus 2. And this is volume square. Dimension of volume is L cube, and L cube square means L6. Okay. So it will become M L plus of 5 and T minus 2. Okay. Dimension of A. Okay. So in the question, we are asked to find the dimension of AB inverse. Okay. So the dimension of AB inverse will be A into B inverse. So it will be A is M L5 T minus 2, and B inverse means L cube inverse. So it will become M L5 minus of 3 T minus 2. So the dimension of A B inverse will become M L2 T minus 2. Okay. This is our final answer. So among these four given option B, that is ML2 T minus 2 is the correct option. Now next question 42. The output Y of the logic circuit given below is 0 only when. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of electronic devices, but here we are not given with the logic circuit. So first we have to draw the logic circuit. Okay, so the figure is like this. There is a gate and its input is connected with this B. This is A, and this is like this. There is another input given as 1. There is a NAND gate and it is like this. Okay. So our circuit diagram is something like this. This is the output Y, and we have to find the output Y, and we have to show it is 0 when the conditions are given for A and B inputs. Okay. So in this figure, we know that this is a OR gate. Okay. And this is a AND gate. And this is also an OR gate. Okay. We know that OR gate means plus, AND gate means dot product. Okay. So if we put first of all A0 and B0, okay, let us say this A0 and B0. So from here 0 0, and this is OR gate, so 0 0 will be 0 here. And since B is 0, so here 0, and this is given as 1, so 0 and 1, this is AND gate, so it will be 0 again. So here also 0, here also 0, this is OR gate, so output will be 0. So we obtain this Y output as 0 when A is 0 and B is 0. So our correct answer is option B, that is A0 and B0 is the correct answer. Okay. Now next question 43. A body is moving unidirectionally under the influence of a constant power source. Its displacement in time t is proportional to. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of motion in a straight line. Motion in a straight line. Okay. Okay. So we are given a body is moving unidirectionally under the influence of a constant power source. Since we are given that power is constant, and we know that power equals to force into V, and it is given as the constant term. Okay. So we can write it as force. We know that it is equals to mass into acceleration, na? And we can write acceleration as del V over del T, rate of change of velocity with respect to time. So in place of F, we can write M del V over del D into V equals to constant. Okay. So now integrating this with respect to V only. So we write it as 0 to v into dv. This is equals to this something constant c into 0 to t dt. Okay. Now integrating it, we get v square over 2 is equals to. So from this, we see that this v is directly proportional to t to the power 1 by 2. Okay. So we can write it as this is velocity, na, means rate of change of position. So we can write this velocity as ds over dt, rate of change of distance or displacement, or we can say it as position is directly proportional to t to the power 1 by 2. So now again integrating this, so we get 0 to s limit ds will be equals to some constant k, integrating 0 to t to the power 1 by 2 dt. So from this we get s is equals to this constant k. So integrating this with respect to time, we get s equals to k into 2 by 3 t raised to the power 3 by 2. Okay. So from this, we see that s is directly proportional to t to the power 3 by 2. Okay. So as asked in the question, the displacement in time t. So the displacement s is directly proportional to t to the power 3 by 2, means option C is the correct answer. Now next question 44. Match list 1 with list 2. Okay. Okay, so we have to tell the wavelength range of the different waves. Okay, different electromagnetic waves. So first of all, infrared rays. So we know that infrared is the least energetic, thus having the biggest wavelength. Okay, and among these, gamma ray are the most energetic, thus having the smallest wavelength. So smallest wavelength means gamma rays are having the wavelength less than 10 to the power minus 3 nanometer, and infrared rays are having the wavelength from 1 mm to 700 nm, means the biggest wavelength will be of infrared rays and the smallest wavelength will be of gamma rays. So from this, gamma rays matches with this first and infrared rays matches with uh this third one, 1 mm to 700 nanometer. Okay, and remaining ultraviolet rays and x-rays. So the ultraviolet rays matches with the second option, that is 400 nanometer to 1 nanometer, and x-rays matches with 1 nanometer to 10 to the power 3 nanometer. Okay, so from these, the option second one means B, A matches with third, B matches with second, C matches with fourth, and D matches with first is the correct answer. Okay. Now next question 45. During an adiabatic process, if the pressure of a gas is found to be proportional to the cube of its absolute temperature, then the ratio of Cp over Cv for the gas is. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of thermodynamics. Now, since we know that it is an adiabatic process, so we know that for an adiabatic process, pressure P is directly proportional to cube of the temperature. So we can write it as P T minus 3 is equals to some constant term. Okay. So, and we know that from an ideal gas equation is PV equals to nRT. Na? So from this we can write PV over T equals to NR. Okay. So we can write this term as P in place of T, we can write it as PV minus 3 equals to some constant. Okay. If we write it if we write PV equals to T NR na, and writing this NR as constant, so in place of T we can write this PV na. So we can write here, so P remains the same, and in place of T we can write PV minus 3 equals to some constant. So from this we can write P minus 2, v minus 3 equals to some constant. Let us say this is equation number 1. Okay. Since the process equation is for the adiabatic process, so we can write it as PV some gamma equals to some constant term. Okay, let us say this is equation second. So comparing the first equation with the second equation, we get Cp over Cv equals to this gamma, and it will be equals to 3/2. Okay. So the correct option is option C, that is 3/2. Now next question 46. Match list 1 with list 2. Okay. So we have to match this list with their properties. So this question is from the chapter of properties of solids and liquid. Properties of solids and liquids. Okay. Now, at first, we are given that a force that restores an elastic body of unit area to its original state. Okay. Since we know that stress equals to what? Restoring force over area. Na? If we put area as one unit area, it is asking about the unit area. Na? If we put area as one, so we get this stress equals to restoring force. So this is the definition of stress. Na? So this A matches with the third option, that is stress. That is a force that restores a body of unit area to its original state is called the stress. Okay. Now B point, two equal and opposite forces parallel to opposite faces. Okay. Two equal and opposite forces parallel to opposite faces means it is something like this. So this is the definition of shear modulus. That is, two forces, they are acting in the opposite direction and they are parallel to the opposite faces. Okay, so this B matches with fourth part. And third one is forces perpendicular everywhere to the surface per unit area and same everywhere. And this is something like this. Forces are same everywhere and they are perpendicular everywhere to the surface per unit area. Okay, so this is the definition of the bulk modulus. So this C matches with this option A. And D point is two equal and opposite forces perpendicular to opposite faces. So it is something like this, two equal and opposite forces perpendicular to opposite faces. So it's the definition of Young's modulus. So from this point of view, the option third, that is A matches with first, B matches with second, C matches with one, and D matches with second. Young's modulus is the correct answer. Okay. Now next question 47. A vernier caliper has 20 divisions on vernier scale which coincides with 19th division on the main scale. The least count of the instrument is 0.1 millimeter. One main scale division is equals to dash millimeter. Okay. So first of all, this question is from the chapter of units and measurements. Units and measurements. Okay. So in this question, we are given 20 divisions coincides with 19th division on the main scale. So 20th vernier scale division coincide with 19 main scale division. It means one vernier scale division coincide with 19 over 20 main scale division. So least count will be equals to one main scale division minus one vernier scale division. So least count is given as 0.1 mm. So 0.1 mm will be equals to one main scale division minus one vernier scale division. And this vernier scale division is equals to 19 over 20 main scale division. Okay, so simplifying it, we get 0.1 is equals to 1 over 20 MSD main scale division. So one main scale division will be equals to 20 into 0.1, that is 2 millimeter. So this is the answer. That is one main scale division is equals to 2 millimeter. Okay. Now next question 48. A heavy box of mass 50 kg is moving on a horizontal surface. If coefficient of kinetic friction between the box and the horizontal surface is 0.3, then the force of kinetic friction is, okay. So this question is from the chapter of kinematics. We are given a heavy box and its mass is 50 kg, okay. It is moving on a horizontal surface. If coefficient of kinetic friction between the box and the horizontal surface mu k is given as 0.3, we have to find the force, okay. So normal force is acting in the upward direction and mg force is acting in downward direction. So this mg force will be 50 into gravitational. So this force which is balancing this will be equals to mu k. This force of kinetic friction k will be equals to mu k in this normal force. Mu k is given as 0.3 and this normal force will be equals to this mg force. So it will be mu k into this m is 50 kg into gravity 9.8. So simplifying it, we get 3 5s are 15, 0 means 15 into 9.8. It will be equals to 147 Newton force. So the correct answer is option B. Now next question 49. A satellite revolving around a planet in a stationary orbit has a time period of 6 hours. The mass of planet is 1/4 the mass of Earth. The radius orbit of planet is, okay. So this question is from the chapter of gravitational, okay. Now, we know that the time period of any satellite revolving around a planet is given as T equals to 2 pi r to the power 3 by 2 over under root of gm. Okay. So this gravitational constant, this is something constant, this 2 is constant, pi is constant. So this T is directly proportional to r to the power 3 by 2 over m to the power 1 by 2. Okay. So and in the question it is given that the mass of the planet is 1/4 the mass of the Earth, the radius of the planet, radius orbit of the planet. Okay. So first of all, let us say T1 over T2 will be equals to R1 to the power 3 by 2 over R2 to the power 3 by 2 into M2 to the power 1 by 2 over M1 to the power of 1 by 2. Okay. And T1 is given as satellite revolving around the planet in a stationary orbit has a time period of 6 hours. Means T1 time period of the satellite is given as 6 hours and the time period of planet. We know that sun revolves in its orbit, Earth taking time of 24 hours, na? So T2 will be equals to 24 hours. So T1 over T2 means 6 over 24. It will be equals to R1 raised to the power 3 by 2 over R2. R2 is given as the radius of the geostationary orbit for Earth. It is given as 4.2 into 10 to the power 4. So we write it as 4.2 into 10 to the power 4 raised to the power 3 by 2 into M2 over M1. And in this question, it is given as the mass of the planet is 1/4 the mass of the Earth. Mass of the planet is 1/4 the mass of the Earth. Okay. So it will like this 1 by 2. So solving it, we get this cancels. So we get this 6. 6 4s are 24 means 4 into 4.2 into 10 to the power 4 raised to the power 3 by 2 equals to R1 to the power 3 by 2 into 1 over 1 by 4 means 4 raised to the power 1 by 2 means it will become 2 eventually. So it will cancels like 2 2s are 4. To solving it, we get R1 as 1.05 into 10 to the power 4 kilometer. This is the final answer. So R1 radius orbit of planet will be 1.05
into 10 to the power 4 kilometer, means option D. Now next question 50. The ratio of heat dissipated per second through the resistance 5 ohm and 10 ohm in the circuit given below is. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of current electricity. Okay. So first of all, let us say current I is coming in this direction. Okay. So this I current is distributing into two parts. Let us say this is I1 and this is I2. Okay. And from Ohm's law, we know that V equals to IR. Okay. So I1 current will be V over R1. So V is 10 over R1 is 5. So it will be 2 ohm. And I2 current will be V over R2. V is 10, R2 is 10, so it will be 1 ohm. So the ratio of I1 over I2 will be 2 over 1. Okay, and we know that this P means heat dissipated power will be equals to I square into R. So P1 will be equals to I1 square over R1 and P2 will be I2 square over R2. So I1 square means 2 square is 4 and R1 is 5 ohm over this I2 square means I2 is 1 square 1 into R2 is 10 ohm. So solving it, we get 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are 10, 5 5 cancels means again 2 over 1, that is 2, 2 ratio 1. So option B is the correct answer. So the next question is 51. A solenoid of length 0.5 meter has a radius of 1 centimeter and is made up of m number of turns. It carries a current of 5 ampere. If the magnitude of the magnetic field inside the solenoid is 6.28 into 10 to the power minus 3 Tesla, then the value of m is. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of magnetic effects of current and magnetism. Current and magnetism. Okay. So in this question, we are given with a solenoid. Okay. So the solenoid looks like this. These are the number of turns of the coils over this solenoid. And the magnetic field of this solenoid is given as B equals to mu naught N into I. Okay. Where N is the number of turns per unit length. So in place of N, we can write mu naught M over L into I, where M is the number of turn, this is per unit length. So from this we can get M as B into L over mu naught into I. Okay. So B is given as this 6.28 into 10 to the power minus 3, and length is given as 0.5 meter, 0.5 over mu naught. Since mu naught is equals to 12.56 into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. We know that mu naught is equals to what? 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. Na? So it will be equals to 4 into 3.14 into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. So eventually it comes out to be 12.56 into 10 to the power minus 7. So putting value 12.56 into 10 to the power minus 7 into current. Current is given as 5 ampere. So it will be equals to 0.1 and this will be equals to 2 times, means this will become 1 by 2. So M will be equals to 1 by 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 plus of 6. Okay. So it will become 0.5 into 10 to the power 3. So it will be equals to 500, means M number of turns will be 500. Okay. So the answer is 500. Now next question 52. The shortest wavelength of the spectral lines in the Lyman series of hydrogen spectrum is 915 angstrom. The longest wavelength of a spectral line in the Balmer series will be. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of modern physics. Okay, modern physics. Okay, we know that the spectrum is like this. The first one is Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, bracket, and at last P fund. Okay, P fund. So for Lyman, n will be equals to 1, for 2 Balmer, 3 Paschen, 4 bracket, and fund 5. Okay, so the question is given as the shortest wavelength for the Lyman series is 915 angstrom. Okay, so first we should know the formula for finding the wavelength. Okay, since for shortest wavelength for Lyman series, for shortest, well, this is for Lyman series. Okay, for Lyman series it will be hc over lambda. 1 over lambda is equals to minus 13.6 over n square na. So we can write it as 1 over n1 square minus 1 over n2 square. Okay, means when this is the formula for energy na, Sc over lambda, means when lambda is low, lambda decreases, the energy increases. Okay, and we are finding it for shortest wavelength, means when the wavelength decreases, the energy increases. So for this we can write and it is for the shortest wavelength. Shortest wavelength means from n equals to okay, whenever we have to find the shortest wavelength, we consider the final n will be, means the transition is towards the infinity times. Okay, so for this the hc over lambda naught will become minus 13.6 over 1 over 1 square minus 1 over infinity square, means this will become 0. So hc over lambda naught for the shortest wavelength for Lyman series will be equals to minus 13.6. Okay, let us say this is equation number 1. And now we have to find for the Balmer series for the longest wavelength. Okay, longest wavelength. So for longest wavelength for Balmer series, the transition should be from n equals to 3 to n equals to 2. This is for the longest wavelength. Okay, so we can write it as hc over lambda 1. Okay, will be equals to minus 13.6, and it will be from 3 to 2, means 1 over 2 square minus 1 over 3 square. So it will be hc over lambda 1 will be equals to minus 13.6, 1 over 4 minus 1 over 9. Okay, so it will be hc over lambda 1 will be equals to minus 13.6 and will be 9 4s are 36. This 4 9s are 36, 9 4s are 9 minus 4. So this will become hc over lambda 1 will be equals to minus 13.6 into 5 over 36. So solving it, we get hc over lambda, and in place of minus 13.6, we can write it as, okay, write hc in place of hc. From equation 1, we in place of hc we can write minus 13.6 into lambda naught na. So we can write minus 13.6 into lambda naught over lambda 1 will be equals to minus 13.6 into 5 over 36. So minus 13.6 minus 13.6 cancels. So we get from here lambda 1 will be equals to lambda 1 naught into 36 over 5. And in this question, we are given that the Lyman series has a wavelength of 915 angstrom. So lambda naught is here 915. So 915 into 36 over 5. So 5 on the 5, and this will be 5 3s are 15. So lambda 1 will be equals to 6588 angstrom. Okay. For Balmer series for longest wavelength, the lambda 1 will be equals to 6588 angstrom. Okay, now next question 53. In a single slit experiment, a parallel beam of green light of wavelength 550 nanometer passes through a slit of width 0.20 mm. The transmitted light is collected on a screen 100 centimeter away. The distance of first order minima from the central maxima will be this. We have to find the value of x. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of wave optics. Okay, so let us understand this question like this. This is a single slit experiment, and green light is of 550 nanometer passes through this slit. Let us say this is, here is a slit and this is passing from this, and this width is given as, okay, this will be like this. Okay, let us say this is a small d slit width, this is 0.2 mm. Okay, and the wavelength lambda is given as 550 nanometer. Okay, and transmitted light is collected on the screen 100 centimeter. This is the screen, this is the slit width d, as we know. Let us say this is slit, and we are given the distance between slit and the screen, capital D, as 100 centimeter. Okay, so we have to find the distance of the first order minima from the central maximum. Okay, so for this we know that beta is equals to what? Lambda d over d. Okay, so lambda is given as 550 nanometer, means 550 into 10 to the power minus 9 meter, into d. 100 centimeter means 100 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter, over small d 0.2 mm means 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. So solving it, we get beta as 275, means the distance of the first order minima from the central maxima is 275. Okay, into this will be 10 to the power minus 5 also. So 275 into 10 to the power minus 5. So value of x is 275. Now next question, 54. A sonometer wire of resonating length 90 centimeter has a fundamental frequency of 400 Hz when kept under some tension. The resonating length of the wire will, with fundamental frequency of 600 Hz under same tension, will be. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of oscillations and waves. Oscillations and waves. We are given that a sonometer wire of 90 centimeter has a frequency of 400 Hz. Okay, so let us say the length of this sonometer wire L, this will be lambda by 2. This we know from the theory part itself. Okay, so this length is equals to lambda by 2, we all know, and frequency is given as 400 Hz. Okay, and we know that the velocity for this will be equals to under root of t over mu, and this is equals to some constant. Okay, and this velocity also is equals to f naught into lambda. This we all know from the theory, but these are the direct formulas. Okay, for solving this question, since v equals to f naught into lambda, so, and from here we can write lambda equals to 2l na? So just put the value of lambda here, so we get v equals to f naught into 2l. So from here we can find L is equals to V over 2F naught na. So in this question we are given that the resonating length of the wire with fundamental frequency of 600 under same tension will be. Okay, so when the frequency is 400 Hz, the length is 90 centimeters. So now when the frequency will be 600 Hz, we have to find the length. So just use this formula. So using this formula, let us say L dash will be equals to V over 2F dash. So it will be equals to 2F dash, and V is F naught into 2L. So 2L into F naught, this 2 cancels. So L dash will be, L is 90, F naught is 400, and F dash is 600. So solving it, we get 2 to the 4, 2 3 the 6, 330, 90, so 30 into 2, 60. So L dash will be 60. I guess it is in centimeter. Yeah, so 60 centimeter. Okay. So when the frequency is 600 Hz, the resonating length will be 60 centimeter. Okay. Now next question 55. A hollow sphere is rolling on a plane surface about its axis of symmetry. The ratio of rotational kinetic energy to the total kinetic energy. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of rotational motion. Rotational motion, we have to find the ratio of rotational kinetic energy. So we know that rotational kinetic energy is half I omega square, and total kinetic energy. Total kinetic energy is this rotational kinetic energy plus half mv square. So we have to find its ratio. So dividing this first by second, so we get half I omega square over half I omega square plus half mv square. So it will be equals to half I, and I is the inertia and it is a hollow sphere. So for hollow sphere we write 2 by 3 mr square moment of inertia into omega square over 1 by 2 into I, again 2 by 3 mr square into omega square plus half m. And we know that this v velocity equals to r into omega, na? So in place of v square we can write r omega whole square. So solving it we get 2 cancels. Okay, just not cancel this, 1 by 2, 1 by 2. This mr square cancels. No, okay, this is summation, na? Wait a minute. Acha, we can take mr square common here also. So mr square taking outside it. So they will get cancels. mr square, okay? And omega square also cancels out. So we get 2 by 3 over 2 by 3 plus this 1 by 2, 1. Okay. So we get 2 by 3 over 3 plus 2, 5 over 3. This 3 cancels. So we get the ratio of rotational kinetic energy to over total kinetic energy will be rotational kinetic energy over total kinetic energy will be equals to 2 over 5. So comparing it with that given in the question x over 5. So from here we can find that value of x is 2. Okay, this is our final answer. Now next question 56. A hydraulic press containing water has 2 arms with diameter as mentioned in the figure. Okay. A force of 10 Newton is applied on the surface of water in the thinner arm. The force required to apply it on the surface of water in the thicker arm to maintain the equilibrium of water is. Okay. So force, we have to find the force which we will apply on the thicker arm to maintain the equilibrium. So to maintain the equilibrium, this force over area on both sides must be equal. So F1 over area 1 must be equals to F2 over area 2. Okay, and we know that area equals to pi r square. So just use the formula. This is very basic simple question asked in the paper. So force F1 over area pi into r1 square will be equals to F2 over pi into R2 square. Okay. So given in the question, a force of 10 Newton is applied on the surface or in the thinner arm, means F2 will be 10, and this is 1.4 centimeter, this is 14 centimeter, means 14, half of 14 is 7 centimeter and half of 1.4 is 0.7. So here for thinner arm the radius will be 0.7 and for thicker arm the radius will be 7. So F1 into this pi cancels. 7 square will be equals to 10 over 0.7 square. So solving it we get F1 means force that will be applied on the thicker arm to maintain the equilibrium will be equals to 10 into 49 over 0.49. So solving it we get F1 will be equals to this, it will be equals to 100, 49 cancels. So we get 1000 Newton. Okay. So F1 will be 1000 Newton. Now the next question 57. The electric field at point P due to an electric dipole is E. The electric field at a point R on the equatorial line will be E by X. We have to find the value of X. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of electrostatics. So in this question, we are given that the electric field at point P is given as E. Okay. Due to an electric dipole. So first of all, we know that electric dipole is when two charges having equal and opposite magnitude, they are separated by a finite distance, let us say d between them, is called an electric dipole, and its magnitude P is given as Q into D. Okay, dipole moment. So the at point P, the electric field due to this dipole plus Q and minus Q charges, the electric field is given as E. So for this, we can write E at point P will be equals to 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught 2p over r cube. This is the formula for the electric field at a point P due to an electric dipole. Okay, this we can write this 1 over 4 pi epsilon naught, let us say, as K. So we can write EP is equals to K into 2p over r cube, where this P equals to Q cross D. Okay, let us say this is equation number 1. Now it is saying that the electric field at point R on an equatorial line will be E by X. Okay, we have to find this value of X. So for R, the distance is given as 2R. So for this, we can write electric field at point R as Kp over 2R whole cube. Okay. So let us say this is the second. So putting value of this Kp over R cube from equation 1 in equation 2, and in this question it is given as E na. So putting this value from equation 1 to 2, we can write it as ER as E over 16. So comparing it with that given in the question, so the value of X is 16. Okay, very simple question. Now next question 58. The maximum height reached by a projectile is 64 meter. If the initial velocity is halved, the new maximum height of the projectile is. Okay, so this question is from the chapter of kinematics. Okay. First of all, we know the formula of maximum height. Maximum height is equals to u square sine square theta over 2g. Okay, for a projectile, let us say it is projecting with an initial velocity of v and making an angle of theta. So at this point means the maximum height h maximum is given as u square sine square theta over 2g. And in this question, we are given that the maximum height reached by a projectile is 64 meter. If the initial velocity is half, the new maximum height means if the initial velocity at first is u1, let us say it is u, so the second one will be u by 2. So we can write h1 maximum over h2 maximum will be equals to the sine square theta will become constant, so we cancels out it, so we get u1 square and 2g will be same, so u1 square over u2 square. Okay, so h1 height is given as 64 meter, over we have to find the h2 height, maximum height equals to this will be u square and second one will be u by 2 whole square. Okay, so solving it, u square get cancels out over 4. So we get it as S2 maximum will be equals to, this will come here in the numerator. So this will become, cancels out at 16 4 is 64. Now, so S2 maximum will be 16 meter. Okay, this is the final answer. Now, next question 59. A wire of resistance 20 ohm is divided into 10 equal parts. Okay, wire of 20 ohm is divided into 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A combination of two parts are connected in parallel and so on. Okay. Two parts are connected in parallel combination of this. Now resulting pairs of parallel combination are connected in series. The equivalent resistance of the final combination is. Okay. So this question is from the chapter of current electricity. Current electricity. First of all, it is saying that 20 ohm is divided into 10 equal parts. If it is divided into 10 equal parts, so each part will have a resistance of 2 ohm. Okay. So, and again is saying that a combination of two parts are connected in parallel and so on. Two parts are connected in parallel, na? Two parts are in parallel. So, two parts are in parallel means for this R will be 1 ohm. Since two parts are connected in parallel, na? So, parallel, their combination will be 1 ohm, na? And now the resulting pairs of parallel combination are connected in series. So, if first of all this 20 ohm is divided into 10 equal parts, and in 10 equal parts each two parts are connected in parallel. So after connecting each two part in parallel, we finally have five parts remaining, na? Five parts. So there will be five parts, each of resistance 1 ohm. Since two parts are connected in parallel, so for parallel their equivalent resistance will become equals to 1 ohm. So these five parts will have a resistance of 1 ohm. So now, and after that they are connected in series. So five parts are connected in series, each having a resistance of 1 ohm, means so the total equivalent resistance will be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. It will be equals to 5 ohm. So the equivalent resistance will be 5 ohm. Okay. Now next question 60. The current in an inductor is given by I equals to 3t plus 8, where t is in second. The magnitude of induced EMF produced in the inductor is 12 millivolt. The self-inductance of the inductor will be. So this question is from the chapter of electromagnetic induction. Electromagnetic induction. Okay. We are given I as 3t plus 8 in t second. The magnitude of induced EMF produced in the inductor is 12 millivolt, means E is 12 millivolt. And we know that induced EMF is equals to L into di by dt. So self-inductance L, we have to find this L, na? And E is given as 12 equals to L into di by dt. So di over dt will be equals to 3. So into 3. So we get L is 12 over 3, means 3 4s are 12, means 4 millihenry. This is the answer.